Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to Codebase Alpha episode 40. We're going to continue today working on our synthesizer. And what I want to do today is to actually look at voices, adding voices to our keys. So not only is there just one waveform produced when you press a key, but you get the option to add in other waveforms at other frequencies. And this is to give us a bit of a richer and a more complex kind of sound to the synthesizer. And we'll also be able to kind of mix in noise and things like that. So when we have an instrument which is perhaps blown, then the kind of the fricative sound of the noise of someone blowing through that instrument, we might be able to get some of that in there. I'm not quite how far we'll get. I think adding the voices is the easy bit. I think it's going to be then a bit of GUI work. So let's let's see how far we get today. And if we don't complete everything I want to do, then we'll have another stream tomorrow just to finish off. But let's see how far we get. So let's go and drop over into the code. So here we are in the code, and we're in our main window view model class. This is the partial class. One half of it is generated for us by T4 templates. That does all the wiring up of our controls to properties within the class. And this is the part of the class which does all of the work. So if we pop down here to our key down, you can see at this point is where we actually generate. We create an oscillator from our synth wave provider class here, and we actually then give it some basic values, and off it goes. So what we want to do really is create two more. So I set up the GUI with some tabs. So we've got main voice, and then voice 1, and voice 2, and voice 3. So these are going to be optional voices which the user can add to the synthesizer, and then basically alter the frequency of those additional voices, and the wave type as well, and also the gain on them, so they can reduce the gain. So that we feed in kind of pieces of other waveforms into the sound. So I think what we need to do basically is in our key down, we have this oscillators array, and the value here is the key value. So the letter Z currently is 0, and that's A, the low A on my computer keyboard, the letter Z, and it goes up then to the question mark key, which is a high C. Which is key 16 or key 15, key 16. So we're going to have to change all this anyway when we go to MIDI. When we introduce the MIDI controller, probably next week, we're going to have to mess around with those key values. They're no longer going to be quite as simple as that. But what I want to do really is just make a start on getting multiple voices. And what I especially want to do is make this an array of arrays. So we'll have it kind of, as we're going to have 3 voices, it will be 3 by 16 array of synthwave providers. And then we can go down here, and this is our primary voice, so it's going to be index 0 here. So we can go and fill all that in. As I say, it's not actually that hard to actually get the multiple voices, and it's not a difficult concept at all. But what it's the GUI controls of it, which can probably going to take up a lot of our time. Well, what we'll do is we'll actually, as I've not tried this before, we'll actually add some, and we won't have any GUI controls, and we'll have to play around with some of the settings and see if we can make it sound decent. Because if it doesn't sound decent, there's no point in continuing with it. But I think this is the way most synthesizers do have multiple voices. So I think we do need to be able to add this to our synth. Okay, so right, where are we? We've got that. So let's just do the simplest thing that's going to possibly work, and that's to just add some more oscillators. So we're going to create a couple more oscillators. So here we're going to have voice 1 and voice 2, and if we basically create them exactly the same there, that's going to basically have the same note 3 times mixed into the mixer, Then we need to be able to add those to the mixer. So we just do this one 3 times basically. Let's just tidy up those. I like to have them nicely lined up like that. And this is going to be oscillator sub 1 and sub 2. Okay, so that's not exactly what we want though. What we're going to want to be able to do is actually adjust the level of each of these so that they're not all the same loudness, so they don't contribute the same amount to the overall sound that gets produced. One thing we do need to do is to actually stop these oscillators as well when we lift the key up, and we can set them to null. It's not that important to do so, but we can do. So let's just do issue the stop commands and then just null them out. Remember, they'll stay connected to the mixer until the sound has died away anyway. So it's okay to null them at that point. So yeah, we're going to want to be able to pass a level into this synth wave provider. So if we go over to synth wave provider, in the constructor here, we can set a level. Here we go. So if we say we have a new float called level, and we default that to full volume, then down here in the gain we can simply set the level like that. So that's going to change the gain on our source signal. So we're going to pass a level in. So that's pretty much all we need to do to set ourselves up to try this out. I think anyway. I think so. So let's pass in, I don't know, 0.5 into that one, and I don't know, 0.25 into that. This is going to be, so we could have different. So this is going to be a sine wave. So, and we need an F on there. They're all going to be at the same frequency though. So we're going to want to move these frequencies around. So let's increase the frequency. Let's add a whole octave to this frequency by adding 12 keys basically to it. And this is going to be a bit tricky when we think about when we remove semitones from these values. When we're at the lowest value in our array, it's going to break it. So we need to, at the moment, we're going to start off only be able to increase the frequency. And we'll say this one is going to be able to 24. So that 2 full octaves above the fundamental note here. So we're going to have our note, which is going to play. It's all then going to play 1 octave higher. It's going to play another note over the top of that, which is half gain, and then another note at 2 octaves above that at quarter gain. So we should see, when we play a nice sine wave, we should see 3 peaks, and they should be in that kind of proportion, full half and then a quarter. So let's just see what it sounds like, shall we? I'm not really sure what we're going to get out of this, but let's turn my local volume off. Okay, so here we are. Let's start up our synth. Now we've got those 3 voices on now, and we're on a sine wave. So I'll play the note A. We're getting a lot of, so we're not getting any, so it's just playing the note A, isn't it? So let's see what's going on there. Have I added them in? I have added them in. Oh, I'm not adding them in correctly there. So there's 1, 2, there we go. So let's pop those through now and give it another go. Okay, switch on and then put A. So we're getting 3 peaks, as you can see there. So there's 3 peaks, and we're no longer getting just 1 frequency. We're getting frequencies at 1 octave and 2 octaves higher. So let's have a play around and see what we can make this sound like. So let's for a start, let's just turn off oscillator 3, the third oscillator. Let's just stick with 2 oscillators. We've got a sine wave, and what we'll do is we'll put a, I don't know, we'll put a saw wave on top of that, shall we? So I set a signal generator sawtooth. This is going to be at 1 octave higher at half the amplitude. We'll see what that gives us. So we get quite a nice sound out of that. And if we actually change that to a square wave, yeah, so we get some interesting effects. We put a low pass filter over that, what happens? So we're getting some kind of interesting variations going on now. We want a square wave. So you can see the sine wave modulation there is happening. And 2 sawtooths. Yeah, so I think it's going to have some interesting effects. Let's try and make it sound bell-like, shall we? So if this was a sine wave, at that, and this was a sine wave, which it will be at 0.25. And if we start that up, okay, so we get that kind of sound. If we make it okay, a 9 millisecond attack's okay. If we say that it has some kind of decay, decays over, I don't know, a third of a second, and its sustain falls down to, I don't know, 70%, and it's got a nice long release. Let's give it a 2-second release. What does that sound like now? It's a bit bell-like, isn't it? So that's interesting. So if we could give it some chorus, maybe. So it's quite bell-like. We get some quite interesting effects that way. So if we try phasing that, maybe. Let's put all of that in there. Just set these to some random values. What happens now? It's got a ring, hasn't it? Can't do it. Let's try ring modulating then. We'll put some amplitude modulation in there. Enable that and just push this right up. So that's now got a ring to it, hasn't it? That's quite an interesting sound. Then we could actually put some vibrato on top of that. Something kind of like maybe a gong or something like that. Let's try at higher frequencies. That is really quite like a bell now, I think. Or maybe, you know, tubular bells, I don't know. Let's try it at the highest octave range. So that's really chiming, isn't it? Yeah, so if it kind of died away quite drastically to 50% perhaps on its sustain. So it really is bell-like now. So that's kind of simulating striking the bell, and its volume falls once the strike has finished hitting the actual bell, but it rings for a while. Yeah, so that seems to be working quite nicely. So we need to kind of remember some of these presets. So I'm just got a bit of paper. Just going to write that down. So we had an attack of 9 milliseconds, a decay of, I don't know, 350 milliseconds, let's say, a sustain of 50%, a release of 2 seconds. We had vibrato, and we had AM at 400 hertz, and that was with 3 sine waves, 1 times, half times, and quarter times, and that was at plus 1 octave and plus 2 octaves. So that was a bell. I've just made a note of that and just scribbled down on the, can you see that? Scribbled down that bit of paper, the kind of formula for a bell, and we'll use that later on. Perhaps not today, but when we start to think about creating presets, and we can then say, put that in and say that's how a bell sound. Just sound very bell-like, so I think we're onto a winner with this combination. So let's have a look at what we've got. So we've got, adding the voices was trivial, so all we've got now is basically we've got a 3x16 array, and the computer's well quick enough to be able to handle creating all these oscillators. They're very small, sleek classes, and it can create them and add them into the mixer, and we don't notice any latency in our ear. At least it's good enough for me who can't play the keyboards to mess around with it and get some nice sounds out of it. So I think that's the good start. So let's go and think about what we need to do in terms of our GUI. So I think we're going to want to have an ADSR envelope per voice. We don't need an octave. This is going to become the master volume here. So let's actually just update the name of that to master volume. So there it is. Let's change that name to master volume. So that's the volume of the overall synthesizer. We've got a volume controller in our signal chain. Okay, so the next thing we want to look at would be if we scroll across here, we don't need to have a low pass filter. We might want the low pass filter, and we don't want the sub oscillator. We might want vibrato. We definitely need the waveform selector, but we don't need the tremolo or chorus controller or the phaser controller on these other pages, because they are After Effects. They're kind of added on at the end of the signal chain. So we're right at the beginning of the signal chain here, going into the first mixer. Okay. So let's start off with just setting up the waveform here. Now, what's the best thing? We want a level, don't we? We want a level indicator here. Let's do that. Let's add a level into this portion of the into this area here. Right. So there's the white noise. There's tremolo, chorus, phaser. We're in the wrong place here. We need to go further up, I think. I want to go. Where's that? That waveform. There we are. Okay. So we're going to want to have a stat panel in there. We don't need to give it a name. It's going to be horizontal, is correct, and then we want basically to give it a grid and a row. So it's going to be in column 4, row 3. So that should be 4. It looks like it's in the right place now. We want a label, and it's going to say level, like that. And we want to so the vertical alignment is going to be center, and the font weight won't be bold. That's it. Okay, and then after that we want a slider. It's going to be a volume slider, basically. So let's go and find our master volume slider. And that's going to be basically these two pieces, isn't it? We don't want a column span on it, but let's just grab those two. Go to this, and then we can pop those under there. So this is going to be level 1 and level 1 label, and it's not going to have a column span. We don't need to define those, I don't believe. It's going to have a minimum of 1.0, a maximum 1.0, minimum of 0. And where's this? This doesn't need to be defined like that. It's going to be a percentage. And then this. How are we scaling now sliders? So we're not there, are we? We're just saying slider. Tidy this up a bit. Orientation horizontal, yet it's not. Is there a width? Probably is, isn't there? Width, yeah, and it's going to be what? 50? No, 100. A bit more than that. 200. 200, should that be enough? Should we have it going all the way to the end of there? That's probably 300 then, isn't it? Yeah, that's probably okay. And then we've got our label, which is going to appear there. Our level control. And let's have on there. Was it tick placement? That's going to be bottom right. And then tick frequency is going to be every 0.5, 0.05, and we're going to have snap. Is it snap to device pixels? No, it wasn't that. It was, I don't remember. Down here somewhere. Is snap to enabled? Is snap to tick? Grab that and bring it up. So we're going to go across in 5% increments, which should be fine for us. Okay, so we know we've got a level 1 and a level 1 label. So we're going to need to go across into our T4 template and add those in. So let's do that now. Here's our template. We've got a couple more. Let's just tidy these up a bit, make it look decent. There we go. So we've got some more things to add in here now. So basically we're going to have, let's just make an area here. So this is going to be a float. This is going to be level 1, and our label is going to be called. It's going to be tied into. So this is going to be like this volume here. So we can just grab that. So this is going to be a percentage like that, and we can just grab that bit of code there. Pop it in there, change that to level, and that will auto create the link up to our label. We should get that working. So if we save that, we should be asked to regenerate, which we will, and that will build us our generated view model. You should see that come up. It has. If we fire that up now, what we're going to build, name level, what did I call it? Level 1. Okay, there we go. Sort that out. Build. And then we've got that, and it's all wired up. We've got a level for our master, our main voice, our master voice. Okay, so that's that piece of the code done. So let's go back into here, and let's set the initial value. So level 1 is going to be called. It's always going to be start off at 100%. So let's set it there. So there's going to be voice levels. Okay. And then we should simply be able to pass the level in our key up, a key down rather. So in here, we're going to pass in level 1. So let's run that out and see if it actually has the effect that we hope it will. Once we've got that piece working, we can start playing with the other voices. Right. So we'll go in kind of baby steps with this, as we normally do. So this is our interesting. Oh, so we've got other voices in there, haven't we? So let's drop this down to 0. So that's tied in nicely. Okay. So what we can do now is go over to our XAML again, and for this piece of code here, where we set the waveform and we set the level, which is here, that's those stat panels. We can copy those and then move them down into our, let's make this a bit bigger, into voice 2 and voice 3 tabs. So all the way down the bottom here. So here is, so what we're going to do is stick it in there. So let's just make some space, pop that in there. This is going to be level 2. This is going to be level 2 label. And this is going to be, set waveform. This is going to be waveform 2 and set waveform 2. This is where it gets a bit ugly, I guess. That's your white noise. So the name we're just going to set to be sine 2, sawtooth 2, square 2, triangle 2, and white 2, which is the white noise generator. We need to kind of get the pink noise generator in there at some point as well. that's what we're looking at the moment. So it's hard up against that that's pretty much what it's like over there as well. So no, master volume moves it down, doesn't it? Okay, so we need to kind of move that down as well. So that's going to be a row height. We've got two row heights at 100. Let's put this at 100 as well. No, 50. And see what that does. Let's just tab across. So we'll just highlight that, and then we'll go down the bottom. I've moved around, haven't I? Here we are. Level 2. Okay. Not quite what we wanted to do. Sorry. 43. So I think we're in. So make this 50. That's not right, is it? We're already in that. So it's going to be auto for that. It's going to be this one here. Make this 50. Okay, if I not quite the same, but I think that'll do. That'll do for now anyway. And we can do the same here. We can make this one 50. We'll fiddle around with these values perhaps off stream and get it so it looks nice and smooth. That's level 2. The content is waveform, yeah. And then we've got that waveform to okay. So let's go over to our XAML.cs. We should have now another set waveform. Have we got a set waveform too? We haven't, no. So if we could use the same set waveform method actually, can't we? Just to save having loads of repeated code. So the checked method is going to be let's have a look back at what that says. Select a name here. Be okay. Let's just say we can use the same one for that. And interesting, there seems to be more space in this one. We could probably get pink noise in there. Okay, we'll look at that. Over here, we can just add to these, can't we? We can just have a longer list. I think these were assigned to sawtooth 2, square 2, triangle 2, and white 2. And we're going to want to have 2s on these as well. Like that. Go over to our view model. We've got a wave type here somewhere. Wave type. Here we go. And we'll create another one and another one. Wave type 2 and 3. Like that. They'll start off as sine waves. And this is going to be wave type 2. And this is going to be wave type 3. Okay, and then we want level 2 in here and level 3, but we need to generate those first. Let's save that. back into the XAML. We can grab a whole lot of gain. And down here, before the buttons, make some more space and pop those into there. And here we're going to have sine 3, waveform 3, sawtooth 3, waveform 3, oops, 3, square 3, from 3, triangle, and finally white noise 3. Okay. Good afternoon, Wembley Geek. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining us. I assume you're still at work. Okay, that's that. We need to go back into our XAML here and just repeat this again. We'll try and figure a better way of doing this. We'll make it a function, I think, but for the moment we'll just leave it as the simplest thing that could possibly work, because we're just trying to get a feel for how these controls are actually going to kind of interplay. And the primary goal of the stream is not to generate the world's best GUI, and this is going to be wave type 3. But we like to make it look quite nice, and I will learn then some WPF skills along the way, which is always a valuable thing to do, I guess. Especially with .NET 3, which this is built in, .NET Core 3, which is built in. So let's add a couple more of these label properties using our T4 template. Bang those in. We got level 2 and level 3. Level 2 and level 3. Okay, generate our view model. We'll rebuild to make sure we're okay. Yeah, we're okay. So let's just pop back over to our view model and make sure we're set up. We're not. So currently this needs to be level 2. Level. And this one needs to be level 3. So at the moment we're not going to be able to change the octave or the shift in the frequency to our UI, but we should now be able to control the wave types and the gain on each of those wave types. Just let it work. Go on the Geek. Well, stay with us as long as you can, but I expect you must be heading home fairly soon, I should imagine. Okay, let's give that a go and see what we can get out of it. Okay, let's switch on. So we'll leave, what shall we have? Let's have a sawtooth wave here. We've got 100% volume. Interesting, we've got something weird going on there, haven't we, with that sustain. Look. I've messed something up, haven't I? I've messed something up there. Okay, we'll worry about that in a second. With our voice, we'll set this to 50% and make that sine wave. And voice 3 at 25%. I'm controlling the same level of volume here. Look. Yeah. Okay, we need to fix that as well. This can be a this can be white noise, and that's a sine and a sawtooth. Let's try that. Let's make it a sine here. So you can see we've got the two frequencies. The noise is not very loud, is it? So let's just whack that up to 50%. That'll bring up the second sine wave up as well. But let's see if we can hear the noise. I can't. So let's sort out what's going on. So level 1, level 2, level 3. Did I create a level 3 up here? Must be over here. I'm probably still tied into. Yeah. That should be level 3, shouldn't it? Level 3, so that should sort that out. White noise. Didn't hear any white noise. Wave type 3. White 3. Did I change that? White 3. Okay, looks okay. Let's give it another run. Let's see what happens. We'll bring up the white noise volume. Okay, switch on. We'll bring down the volume of the first. Make it sawtooth. Go to voice 2. We'll make that 25 and a sine. And then we'll have some white noise and make that 75%. I don't know what it's going to sound like, but there we are. So the noise is in there. It's quite dominant, isn't it? So let's knock that down to 25%. So it gives that sibilant kind of hiss, that fricative sound. And if we bit of Christmas there. Okay, let's see if we can get our bell sound back. So we had our bell was the sine wave at 100%, fed in with another sine wave. This was at 50% and at an octave higher. And voice 3 was 25% sine wave, and that was 2 octaves higher. And then we set our, that was 9 milliseconds. We set this to about 350. This was 50%, and we set this to 2 seconds. We had vibrato on, and we had amplitude modulation at about 400. So this was our bell. That was not right. What else do we have on it? It is not bad actually. And we probably had it at a higher register. Yeah, that's the bell, isn't it? Let's get a top register. Yeah. Okay, so we need. What have I done here with this? I've messed that up something rotten, haven't I? So let's go and figure out what I've done there. So we want the main. We want to be, you know, a main voice, and I want to be here. So if I fiddle with a wrong value somewhere, have I changed this? Yes, it was that. That should be auto, I believe. That should sort that out. Hasn't sorted everything out there. In fact, it hasn't sorted anything out. Why has that had such a drastic effect? These are 100. Auto. 200 is this row, is this row, I believe. What does people using star? Not what we want to do, is it? Auto. I think I've moved these labels into the wrong row. So we've got. I want to go to attack. Go to here and just roll up. Envelope ADSR and then stat panel here. This is probably what's wrong, isn't it? So is that row 4 or that row 3? No, it is row 4. So that's okay. And then where's our sliders? Grid row 5. Word attack. There. Oh, what's this here? We've got a margin that's crept in. That should have been there. I'm a bit mystified, to be perfectly frank. Let's have another look around. I don't think I had ever added any margins to these stat panels, so let's remove those. I think something has been in and put those helpfully in for us, and I don't believe we need them. I didn't expect the Spanish Inquisition doing this, I must admit. I thought I definitely didn't put those numbers in there, so I'm not 100% sure where they're coming from. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is just copy this. I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to revert that. I'm going to revert that change on the main window. I'll do that. Okay. So now we should be back where we started. Yep, that's all looking nice. So what we can do is just go in and put those features back. So this is voice 3, and in here we want to put level 3. Then this is voice 3, and here's voice 2. Pop those in and go through and change them. So that's going to be a 2, maybe a 2. Like that. How weird that it messed up like that. I think I must have done a format document and it decided to mess with my layout, which is quite fascinating. Binding level 3. This should be binding level 2. And this should be this should be down here. It should be level 2. And then what we can do is grab this stat panel, so make sure that looks okay, which it does. Grab this stat panel and go to here, go to there, and just pop that in afterwards. Save. Run it up and see what it looks like. Okay, that's tidied up now. And there we've got our. So it really does need to move around quite a bit, but we won't worry about that too much at the moment. So let's set up voices GUI. Commit that. Okay, we're in a position where we can always get back to this now. Right. So the next thing I think the other controls we need to do. We need to be able to control. If we go pop, we need to set the levels, don't we? Let's just do that. So level 2 is going to be off by default, and level 3 will be off by default. Right. And our wave types are already defaulted up there, so that's fine. We don't actually need that line really. Okay. So and this is the kind of minimal notes I made for the stream this today. So I'm saying that we need to be able, we've controlled the level and the wave type. The next basic thing we need to be able to do is control the frequency. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to limit us initially to being able to increase the frequency. So as you can see here with our key down, we're going 12 keys or 12 semitones above the key's natural tone, and here 24 semitones above. So we're going to want to be able to control that number, and we're going to control it going upwards. So it's going to be kind of +0 to plus, I don't know, whatever, +24 perhaps. What we could actually do is break it down a bit. So we're going to, I think we're going to have it in kind of octaves, semitones, and then there's another kind of measure, is a cent, which is 100th of a semitone. And sometimes you can get interesting effects if you offset two identical waves just by a very, very small amount, and it gives you an interesting combination of sounds. So I think we'll do that. So let's go back over into our GUI. We want to be over in this side. So where we've got a phaser here, we're going to want to be able to control. So let's have just check. So we're going to want to have this ADSR envelope. Let's move the ADSR envelope onto each page as an initial thing, so it's in place, and so we should have our layout should then follow. So where's ADSR? So envelope, that's there. Here it is. So this is our attack, decay, sustain, and release control. And we're going to have one of these for each of the oscillators. So let's grab that. Now, do we want low pass filter as well? Don't know. Let's not have a low pass filter for now. Control it from the 1. Control C on that. And then if we pop over to tab number 2, which is here, voice 2, and we can stick that in here, ADSR, and once again in tab number 3 there. So we obviously want to control them separately. So we've got ADSR for voice 2, and this is going to be attack 2, decay 2, sustain 2, release 2. This is going to give us an awful lot of ability to control the sound envelopes against all 3 voices. It's going to give us a lot of versatility. Not sure how it's going to sound, but potentially we have a lot more control. That's 2. Then we want 3, 3, 3, sustain 3, release 3, and then that should be a 3. What did I put 2 in there for? 3, 3, 3, and then the equivalent releases, labels rather. Go away. Okay. Right, we need to save that and go to our model generation, and we need to then basically copy these elements here. And have 3 of those rather than just the one we have at the moment. So this is going to be 2, 2. So this T4 template makes all of this really kind of simple. So once again, my thanks go to Fuel Snable for doing this and submitting the PR which brought us into the project, because it's fantastic. So let's just separate that down there and then tidy up. So it all looks nice. Okay, save that. We'll regenerate. That should be done. Over in our view model, then we've got, why has attack gone away? If I called it attack 1 or something silly, I've deleted attack completely. Let's reinstate that. That's just attack. Save that, generate, and then over here, that's gone away now. In our constructed area here, we'll set these to so we'll just say equals attack 2 equals attack 3. Delay. Oops. Equals delay 3. Why don't they exist? Decay, not delay. That, and then same for this. Afternoon, Cody Beard. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. How are you today? I think you had a bit of a drama at work. Hope that's all sorted for you. Was it a server got bricked or something? Okay. Let's try that out. So we've got our sine wave. Here's the note A. That's all we get. Invoice 2. This is level switched off. We've got its own ADSR envelope, but we haven't got one over here. Interesting. I thought I'd put it over there. Okay, let's go and have a look at that over here. And looks like I put it in the wrong place, didn't I? So that is 3 there. It needs to go down here. It needs to go before the waveforms. Okay, that looks okay now. Run that up and make sure it looks okay, then we can save that away. Today was better. You were training one of the junior engineers, Cody Beard. That's good. 10 servers in a cluster. Microsoft released a Fabric upgrade, which is supposed to gracefully roll out across one node at a time. Something caused it to apply all of them, and 5 nodes crashed. A few which never recovered. That sounds really nasty. And they wouldn't even respond to PowerShell portal restarts or shutdown commands. Wow. There we go. So it'd be nice to move those down by the amount of that, the width of that volume control there, really. So let's see if we can tackle just tidying up a bit. So that was the volume control, master volume here. That's in column in row 2. So row 2 is here. Let's set that to 50. Let's go and set the other row 2s to 50 as well. So here we have 50 there, and 50 on this one. See if that looks okay. Then we can move a bit. And that must mean that's actually taking up more than 50, mustn't it? Let's just jiggle it and see what happens. 60. 60. And 60. I won't bother doing anything else other than just trying those figures. So Cody Beard, you had 2 16-hour days. I'll too sympathise. You finally finished last night. You went to bed and couldn't get to sleep, even though you were exhausted because you were probably worrying about it. And that happens to me. Looks like the height of that is now not too bad. That'll do. The width of some of these other columns is causing it to. Oh, that's not too bad actually. Looks like it might be a little bit more than 60. We won't worry about that now. Okay, so let's just commit that. Added ADS per voice. In fact, we can't commit just yet because we haven't wired those new values up. So let's just do that quickly. So down here in the key down, so we want to say these are going to be 2. These are going to be 3. Let's wire that up. So let's try it out. Okay, switch on. So we'll have that bell-like ringing sound for the master voice, and I think that was what did I set it to? I set it to about 350, which is about 350. Drop this down to 50%, and this was all the way up at 2. It was a sine wave. Interesting, that's gone to level 0. I thought we'd set that to 100% by default. We'll set that up there. Ah, look, that's 100%. So let's. I think I've messed something up. Yeah, fix that. Let's fix that first. I've got a level 1 and level 2 mixed over here. Level 1, 2, 3. Level 1, 2, 3. That looks all right. Over here. Level 3, level 3. Level 2, level 2. That looks all right. Oh, I bet it's at the top here, isn't it? So I need to be here and here, and that's level. That should just be level. Okay, that's that sorted. So let's try again. So Cody Beard, I do sympathise with not being able to get to sleep like that, even though you're absolutely worn out. Very, very difficult situation. That was 50. That was all the way up there. We had a sine wave. We had what did we have? Vibrato on. We had some of this on. Game was all right. And that was it. And this was our bell. We'll just put it higher register. Okay, there's a bell sound. So let's really ruin that by, we'll leave the ADSA controls alone for a moment. Let's put a sawtooth wave over that. We'll put it quite low, 25%. So we do get that bell kind of qualities there, but we also get the buzziness of the sawtooth. Let's try a square wave on top of that. It'll be even more buzzy. Yeah, it sounds good. And then we could try adding a different kind of let's have a long attack. So what? Just over half a second. No decay. Low release. Yes, Cody Beard, it is coming along very nicely. That's really quite nice, isn't it? Excellent. So we're actually getting somewhere, which is always very nice. All right. So now we want to kind of invent some controls for changing the frequency of the voice 2 and voice 1, 2 and 3. Bye, Rumbling Geek. See you again sometime. I hope you're streaming. I won't be able to catch you this Friday. Are you streaming today at all? If you are, I hope maybe I'll catch you this evening. Hopefully, even if I'm just lurking. Okay, so let's go down to tab number 2. This is getting quite difficult to manage this this XAML. I don't know if you can modularize the XAML. I think I'd like to have it in modules, if possible. If anyone knows if you can modularize, you're not tonight, Rambling Geek, but Friday. Okay, I won't be able to catch you Friday because I've got to go down to Bicester in the evening. So it's a shame. If anyone knows if you can modularize WPF XAML files, then drop me a link or two in the Discord. If you use the Discord link, we invite to the Discord, because I would like this getting unmanageable, especially with this split view. Okay, so let's here we are on tab number 2. Yeah. Okay, so what we want to be able to do is control the frequency. Here's level. So I want another stat panel. And it's going to be in the next row down, so that's going to be row 4, isn't it? Let's stick another stat panel in there. So again, we don't need a name for it. And it's going to be row 4. So that should be here. That's there. Okay. Row 5. Okay, that's where we are. Good. Okay. So, Bicester, yeah, I've got to go to Bicester. I've got to drop my granddaughter off with her father, because her mother and father aren't together. Yeah, so there's every 2 weeks it's a trip to Bicester to do the swap over. Okay, I want a select menu, so a drop down list. I've never done a drop down list. Let's have a look on the internet. So WPF drop down list. A complete tutorial, that sounds good. So it's combo box, okay. So do we have a title for our combo box, or do we have to supply a title? Combo box name, no, it's just a name, okay. Pinch that code. Okay, it's a stack panel, it's going to be horizontal. Do we want it vertical? I think we probably do. Okay, inside the stack panel, we're going to have a combo box. Now, first we're going to have a label, aren't we? This is going to say octaves. And we're just going to have +2 +1, and it's selected +0. And then really what we want is to have -1 and -2 on that box, but we'll not have that at the moment because we've got to cope with the fact that our key numbering is not. So you're in that region, are you, Cody Beard? So you know Bicester Village. Then we don't go to Bicester Village anymore. We used to meet them at Bicester Village, and I was quite amazed by this place where tourists wander around with wheeled suitcases, buying all the designer apparel. I've never seen anything quite like it. Interesting, it's so big, that, isn't it? There's a width on that combo box. The width is going to be, I don't know, 40, no, 100. Combo box item, okay. Why does it say combo box item? Maybe it's just not read those things in. And we want it to be horizontal alignment is going to be to the right. Oh no, left, sorry. What does it actually look like when we fire it up? Looks okay. We want that it's in the center, really. The thing doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be anywhere near that big, does it? It can be quite a lot smaller than that. So let's make it 50. And can you align these in the center? Looks like you can. Try that. I think we're going to have to have an explanation of what all these controls are on this GUI, I think. So that's going to be font weight, bold. Okay, so we've got that. So how do we wire that up to an event? Let's have a look over here. working with the combo box selection. Combo box, so selection changed. Okay, we'll give it a go. Selection change is going to be octave. Selection changed. In fact, can we get it to produce that for us? Yeah, we can. Combo box selection change. And we don't want to call that there because it's going to be octave. And let's pop over here and see if it created something for us. That's going to be octave. In fact, it's going to be octave. Oh, we're just octave 2, isn't it, really? So that means we need to go and change that over here to octave 2. Selection change because it's voice number 2. Okay. Doesn't actually seem to be that centered, that does it? But maybe it's that drop down box there that's doing it. Okay. Let's grab that. Pop it over onto voice 3. There's the level. We can go in underneath here. Octaves. Going to be octave 3 changed. Let's get it to create the I think we can get it to create that. Yeah. Octave 3. Okay. Well, let's see how this works out. Octave 3. Okay, so what goes in that kind of code? Okay, let's see what can we do in that. So we've got a sender. Presuming that's going to be a combo box. See what we can do so far. Selection. Combo box. It's going to be text, isn't it? So so we do have check our view models, not null. The view models not null. Oops. Then, so what is selection going to be? It's a combo box, so combo box. So, and we'll say that var selected is going to be combo box dot selected item or selected index. Selected item, what's that going to be? That's an object. Can we cast it to an int, I wonder? Looks like we can't. Let's try and cast it directly then. Okay, that should be a number. Hopefully it'll pass that. +0. We'll see. Let's pop a breakpoint in there and run it up and see what happens. Selected index. Not using view model bindings. I don't know how to do that. If you're Snable, if you could tell me how to bind that to the view model, that would be really helpful. Because I'd rather not have these. So selected item it's of type what? Combo box item. Okay. Selected index. So that's going to be an int. We don't need to cast it in that case. But it's going to be a bit dense, isn't it? We're not really understand exactly what. Let's go back to our XAML then, and we'll just swap it around so it's not weird. I had it in that way because I wanted plus and minus, but at the moment we're only going to have the positive adjustments, so we'll probably better get away with doing this. So I think it's probably going to be selected item 1, 2, and 3, but let's find out. Selected 2. Interesting. Oh, it's still selected 1. Okay, we should be okay then to swap that round. Stop there. Over here. Just want to grab those and move up. Kind of understand the yeah, PR maybe. I understand the event handlers a lot better than I understand the model binding at the moment. So kind of falling back on things I know, which is probably as more I should be doing. I should be trying to learn more stuff. But it's I say it's never really been the focus. We're just trying to get something here at the moment. So is selected should be hopefully that's 0, and it is. Okay, that's good. So what we're going to say is that view model dot voice to frequency is going to equal selected. And we're going to multiply that by 12 because that's 12 semitones. And we need to obviously create one of those values. Yes, a PR would be fantastic if you could add that to the templates, and really would be really motoring with this because obviously it's you know, the T4 template makes everything about wiring up the GUI so much easier for me, and I don't really have to worry about that. Oh, we haven't committed this. Let's just we won't bother committing that then. We'll wait for a bit. So voice 2 and 3 frequency. We need to have that over here. So onto here. Public int. No, public float voice 2 frequency. Yeah, set. And don't want to be integer because we're going to have cents. We're going to have percent. We're going to have decimals. So this is going to be in semitones. Semitones above voice 1. Just so we know what we're dealing with here. Okay. And then we can have down in our key so here we can just say add voice 3 frequency, and here add voice 2 frequency. That's going to be, so key val of course is a it's going to have to be an int, isn't it, for the moment. We're not going to be able to do our cents yet. We'll worry about that a bit perhaps in the next stream. So I do want to be able to move that frequency by a fraction. That will probably help us with our problem that we've got if we want to subtract octaves or semitones from that value anyway. To remove the link that we've got currently between key val and the frequency. Okay. Now we should have control over that. Switch on. So we've got our basic setup here. We'll go to the middle register. Here we'll say we're going to have a sine wave. It's going to be 40%. That's going to be a sawtooth wave, 25% at the same octave level. Then a voice here, which is going to be a sine wave, which is going to be at 50%, and it's going to be 1 octave higher. No, yeah, 1 octave higher. That seems okay, so let's increase that to 2 octaves. Okay, yeah, that seems to be working. So let's go to voice 2. This was at the same. Let's have 1 octave above. We'll take it to 75%. And voice 3 we can drop down perhaps to that and make it a square wave. I don't know what it's going to sound like. Some white noise in. So that's more like someone blowing. You can really hear that there. That maybe someone blowing down a pipe or recorder. If we drop that down a bit so it's not quite so harsh. Say to, I don't know, 25%. 20%. If we make voice 2 a sine wave, and that one, level's gone to 0 again. There's something wrong with the level there, isn't there? Sine wave. No, that's too high. 10%. It's kind of working. Obviously, it doesn't make any difference for noise. You can see the notes there, the two, because we've got voice 1 and 2 at +1. They're both sine waves, aren't they? There's a triangle wave, which is very similar to a sine wave anyway. So let's recreate our bell then. So they're all sine waves. This one was 2 octaves above at 25%. Voice 2 was a sine wave 1 octave above at 50%. And then we had a main voice there. With a sharp attack. Sustain was about 250. Will do. Sustain went down to 50%. That'll do. That all the way up. And we had vibrato and some effects on that. Put it at the top. Let's play around with the envelopes on the other two as well. So let's have a sharp attack again, but we'll have a longer decay. I don't know, 600. The sustain will go down even further to 30%, and we'll have a 1 second. No, we'll have a 1.5 second on that one. And on this one, the high frequency is going to decay even longer. It's going to go down to, I don't know, sustainable there, about a second. So very much like a bell now. So Peter bells. Let's try in a lower register. Definitely ringing. Nice, like that. Purling noise. Let's have a look at what purling is then. So, purling noise, type of gradient noise developed by Ken Perlin's resources frustration machine-like look of computer graphics at the time. Oh wow, that's interesting. So it generates these organic. So oh yes, this is virtual. This is the virtual landscapes you've been working on, isn't it? Very interesting. Okay, so let's just do a little bit more on this UI because we've got our octave selection. Let's add in some semitone selections. So where are we? Where's that? Combo box number 2. Let's have another combo box. Hopefully this should be directly underneath it, which it is, and this is going to be semitones. And once again we're going to stick with it being only positive for now. And we do need to change that because we do need to have it positive and negative. And we do need to have cents, which are fractions of a semitone. +1 +2 +3 +4 +5 +6 +7 +8 +9 plus 10 plus 11. We don't need plus 12 because 12 is 12 semitones to the octave. Is going to be semitone 2. We don't need a capital T, semitone, small word. Okay, there's that. Let's add that combo box to the other tab as well. This is where you start getting very different kinds of sounds when they're no longer kind of whole octaves away from each other. And this is going to be 3. Okay, save that. Go back over to our XAML. Copy these two. And this is going to be semitone 2. And semitone 3. And here we're going to, it's going to be equal to plus equals. Yeah. And that's going to be plus equals as well. Where is it? No, it's not, is it? We'll try that for the moment. That's not right, but we'll give it a go. You're going to use some Perlin noise for your shaders, yeah. So the mountains look really good, didn't they? Feel stable. That's a good idea. Okay, so let's fix this level on there. So there's A. Let's add in voice 2, bring it up to 50%, and just shift it up by 2 semitones. We get some beats. Let's have 1 semitone. It's interesting. Discordant, isn't it? Interesting sine wave there. So if I place a breakpoint, where should we put our breakpoint? Put it there. No, not there. Put it there. And on voice 2, we change this to 6. So voice frequency is 3. It's going to go to 9. This is the problem, isn't it? We've got the wrong code. So it's no longer 6. It should be 6 above. It's 9 above. Okay. So we kind of want to combine them up, don't we, really? I think we're going to need to create separate properties for them, which isn't fantastic, but okay. We'll do it. And we'll tidy it up later. Let's get it working, because we're coming towards the end of when I want to stream anyway. So let me just get something working. Always my philosophy: get it working, make it better later. As long as you do make it better, of course. Over here then, so there's your, we need those frequencies alone. We'll just basically create a voice 2 octave, three octave, voice 2 semi, voice 3 semi, and then for these we'll just fat arrow these. They're going to be voice 2 octave plus voice semi. Same with this. Voice 3 octave plus voice 3 semi. And these no longer need to be no, they're against properties, we'll leave them. Okay, let's try it once more. So here we are, just a pure, it's interesting that level's down there. Why is that? And we're not getting any kind of control. Let's fix that, it's annoying me. So let's have a look. What have I done wrong there? Have I got level 1, 2 and 3 or something? So we like that. Level 1, 2, 3, that should be 1. XAML window here. Let's go up to here. It's got level label, that's right. Should be level 1. There we are. Okay, so we've got A. Switch on. So let's go to voice 2 and have a sine wave, which is going to be 1 semitone above that. And we'll go 100%. Yeah, so that's working now. And half a tone. We can see the two waves mixed in there nicely. It's nice, quite like an organ. Once more. Vibrato on it. Cool. Good. Okay, that's working nicely. Let's commit that. So added ADSR per voice and frequency control. Commit that. So just before we end, what I'll show you is I've also off stream I added a delay function, a delay effect. So we'll just have a look at that and show you what that does. This is going to give us an echo. At the moment we haven't wired anything up, of course, to the GUI, so this is going to be just purely for demonstration purposes. So I'll just new up a new delay here. Going on to delay sample provider. And we're going to pass into that the low pass filter. I'm not determined whether that low pass filter is in the right place in here at the moment. And then we're going to pass that into our Fourier transform, the delay. And so to give you an idea of what we can do with this effect. Once again, we can't turn it on or off, but there's about 16 different parameters to control this, to give different depths of echo. It takes quite a long time to die down. Still going even now, you see, some frequency still left, gone there. I think we're about to combine that. With some other effects, and they're going to sound really good. So we have once again a sharp attack, a delay there, bring that down to 50%, and a long release. We had a vibrato and tremolo. Put that up to 400 Hertz. So a bell's even more bell-like. The echo's too big, too long, but we'll be able to control that eventually when we get the GUI sorted out for that. So let's just pop in our voices here. So 50%, 1 octave above, and similar kind of profile. Voice 3, 2 octaves above, 25%. Once again, a very similar kind of profile. There-ish. So I think that's quite an interesting sound. So we've come quite a long way from where we started with this little kind of toy synthesizer. Got quite a lot of effects on here now. Let's try something more. Let's put a chorus in there, shall we? I don't know what to do with all these. We can experiment to our heart's content. Really, really bell-like, and we change this to a sawtooth. It's going to change complete character. So very, very electronic, and then we're going to mix in a phaser here. Put a bit of feedback into it. About 100 there. Make it wide. Put some more high frequencies in by changing it to square waves. Yeah, wonderful stuff. So I think that's probably enough for today. What I'll do is just remove that chorus. So we'll just back that out. So we need to put the GUI controls into it to actually get the best out of it. Okay, so there we are. So should be back at what we're going to commit. So I'll commit this up to the GitHub. We've added voices, 2 voices in addition to the fundamental voice and a basic GUI to control those. Then we added ADSR envelopes per voice, misspelled voice. Look, can I change that? Yeah, I can. Per voice. Main message. Yep. So we added ADSR envelope control per voice, and then we have the basics of frequency control. So we'll be able to push up the frequency by up to two full octaves and 11 semitones, and we need to be able to control that in the other direction, minus 1 and 2 and minus 11 maximum semitones as well. And once we get that working, we'll be kind of almost towards the end of the project really. But the next kind of part I want to do is to actually get the MIDI controller working. So I've got our miniature MIDI keyboard here. It's 25 keys, and we want to get MIDI control in there. So we're going to keep obviously keyboard control, but adding the MIDI controller is going to allow us to do a couple of things. First, it's going to enable us to have we can plug any MIDI controller. We can have like a full 88 key keyboard for a piano. So we're going to need to expand. We're going to kind of expand on what key val actually means. It's going to be start to change to be the MIDI key val. We're also going to be able to look at velocity. So velocity is how hard and how quickly you kind of press the key. So you press it softly or hard, and start to kind of change the timbre and the quality of the note perhaps based on that. Not sure how we're going to do it. We're going to start off by just trying to play the notes on the MIDI controller using the N-Audio classes that are available for MIDI control. So that's going to be the next part of the project. So that's probably going to leave that till Monday, because we probably need a fair amount of time to work on that. If I do stream tomorrow, we'll just add some more features to what we've got today. Perhaps look at doing the control of sense, that's subdivisions of a semitone, and maybe start to look at shifting the use of key val to not actually be that what determines what notes played. It just kind of more like how the MIDI keys are going to work, where middle C is something like, I don't know, 60 odd or something like that. Currently our middle C is obviously it's like 1 0 1 2, it's 3 E3. So that makes it a bit difficult if we want to kind of shift down into the negative number of semitones or octaves. Okay, so let's commit that then. Sync that up. So that should be in GitHub momentarily. If you want to see my GitHub repository, just pop over to this address. Feel free to use any of the code in there for your own purposes, or if you really feel up to it and you'd like to contribute to the project, then fork the repo and submit a PR. FuelStable has done 3 PRs for me. I'm really kind of pleased with them. So do feel free to do the same kind of thing if you've got ideas how you'd like to take this project forward, or just play with it yourself and learn a little bit about digital audio programming, which is quite fascinating. One thing I have downloaded here, I don't know if you can see on my keyboard, on my Windows taskbar down here, is a program called Juice, and this is it's a program for writing modules in C++. I'm not a C++ programmer, so I may or may not use it, but it also has some kind of built-in support for writing VST audio plugins. So I may actually start looking at a bit of C++ to write some audio plugins, because one thing I've got now, I've got Reaper, which is I've got currently it's an evaluation copy of Reaper, which is a digital audio workbench or workstation. And what we can do with this, I've got a free virtual synthesizer here called Crystal, and we can set this up And this actually I can play with the keyboard, the MIDI keyboard. And it's got it's got voices as well, so it's got 3 voices, just like ours. It's got a complicated mixer panel, which we're not going to try and emulate, but it has an awful lot of different oscillators. So it has synthesized and sampled oscillators. So it's got an electric piano. A sample piano. And what else has it got? Cymbals. Not very convincing. What else? Trombone. So I think we can kind of try to aspire to be able to make some of the features of this. Where I'm coming from with the voice control is that here, if we look at the this voice here, we've done the octave drop down. That has plus and minus 1, 2. There's the semitones between plus 11 and minus 11. It's also got this fine tuner, which is intense. So if I activate the voice 2 and just shift this very slightly, say to there, and play 2. No, we don't want a trombone though. Let's change this back to a sine wave. Then you get some interesting interactions. So we're going to try to kind of emulate that really. So that's Reaper, and we'll if we use Juice, there's a possibility of actually writing our own plugins for that. So I may look into that and see to see how difficult that is. I say I'm not a C++ programmer, so it will be somewhat challenging. But I know that we've got plenty of people out there who are C++ programmers who will be able to chime in. Okay, let's see if we can find someone to raid, shall we? So thank you for joining me today. It's been very interesting. We seem to have kind of made a lot of progress now. There's lots of features we've got. We've got our first kind of instrument that we're going to be able to recreate with presets, and that's going to be the a bell, I think, because that seems to be working quite well. So we're going to go and raid Code Rushed. If you haven't seen Code Rush stream before, then you're in for a treat. Do stay with me for that raid. Otherwise, I shall see you either possibly tomorrow from about 4:30, perhaps. I'm not sure yet, but definitely next Monday at 9 o'clock in the evening UK time. That's 8 o'clock in the evening UTC for more synthesizer work, and we'll try and get this the synthesizer hooked up to a MIDI keyboard, and then we'll be Electric Alpha. You want some Electric Alpha? Yes, we have some Electric Alpha for how well we've done really with the synthesizer. There we go. You need your fix. He's fantastic, isn't he? Wonderful. Okay, so let's head off to this raid, and I will see you, as I say, definitely next Monday, and we'll try and get towards the end of this synthesizer project. So, good evening to everybody, and have a great rest of your day. And we're heading off now to Code Rush. So if you haven't seen Code Rush, do stick with the stream and say hello in chat.